So I came across a quote. It was another Eckhart Tolle video I was watching, and I really liked this quote um, where he said, "You can't pay attention to stillness without becoming still. You can't pay attention to stillness without becoming stillness." And I found that to be very interesting, very true. You know, so a number of years ago, I got into free diving. And so, I would practice holding my breath for long periods of time and swimming in the public pool and doing underwater laps, but also studying free divers on YouTube. And there was a famous free diver who passed away free diving, blanking on her last name right now. Natalia was her first name. Very, very famous. And when you would watch videos of her in the pool, swimming, holding her breath, she just had this sense of relaxation when she was doing it, that it just, it looked effortless. And so here's an interesting thing that I discovered, that if I hold my breath while I'm watching a video of her holding her breath, I can hold my breath longer. Because watching her stillness, her relaxation, her focus, and just being attentive to that, I become that as well. And there's a lot of science behind that, like the whole thing with like mirror neurons, that you kind of become whatever you pay attention to. So pay attention to what you're paying attention to, because or people, when they say that, you become like the top 5 people that you hang around with the most. And so I was thinking about that, this notion of stillness and peace, and when you pay attention to it, you become it. When you pay attention to it within yourself, the stillness underneath the chaos. As I said before, I kind of like the image of the spiritual life. The universal consciousness is like an ocean. And there's a parable that I tell sometimes in my sermons, that there's this, there's all these waves on the top of the ocean, and this one wave is he's happy being a wave, he's just moving along, but as he approaches the shore, he starts to realize his fate, and he starts to realize that his being a wave, he's going to die, and his waveness is going to cease, and he starts freaking out. And then he hears this voice from deep within the ocean, that says, "You are not the wave. You are me. You are the ocean." This temporary form that you are is a temporary form. It's not you. You are the ocean. You are the eternal now, just like God. And that is, these are not like New Age ideas, right? God revealed to Moses on Mount Sinai that he was the eternal now. He says, who should I tell the people sent me? And he says, tell them that I am sent you. I am the eternal now, that which always is. And then Jesus reinforced that in today's gospel. He's telling the Pharisees, he says, you don't recognize that I am, you know, um, claiming that he is too the eternal now. And I think we all are. I don't think you have to be Jesus to be the eternal now. We are all these waves, these temporary forms, and we have this, that we're all part of God. We're all part of the universal consciousness. You know, I think some traditional church people that schooled in traditional theology might not appreciate looking at it like that. That's saying that, I am God. You know, um, but it's semantics, really. We're using words to describe spiritual things that can't be described in words. And I think we're all part of the source. We're just waves. And the more that we're attached to the wave, the more we suffer. The more we pay attention to the stillness that exists below the wave, the more still we become. And the less attached we are to the form, and the less we suffer. See you tomorrow.